soldiers, and welcome back to Soldier Up Sundays with Sabrina. As we continue to toughen up and make sure we are giving our all, the one thing that will always make us be better than the rest is that we're not afraid to ask ourselves the tough questions. So here's a question to ask yourself this week as you reflect on being better. Are you an inside person, outside person, or both? What do I mean by this? People are not flat. We are made up of so many dimensions. I've always looked at people like icebergs. When you see an iceberg, what you actually see is only 10%. And underneath the water is the other 90% of the iceberg. Humans are the same way. What we see is only 10% of what they really are. What really makes up a person are those invisible factors. That saying, it's what's inside that counts, really means something. Both parts are important, but this is the main question to ask yourself. What do you spend the most time developing? The outside of you that's visible to the world that really only makes up 10% of who you really are? Or do you spend the majority of your time developing the inside of you, which is invisible? Things that people would call character traits. We live in such a superficial world where people spend more time taking care of that 10% and barely put any effort or thought into how they're developing their inner self. It's like walking around with a really expensive bag, but you're broke. You know what I'm talking about. You ever meet people and they wish to look a certain way, but there's nothing on the inside? Here's a tip for you. If you had to spend all of your money to get that bag, or you didn't earn it yourself, maybe you shouldn't be walking around flaunting it to everyone if you don't have more money to put inside of it. Don't get me wrong, looking good on the outside is vital. It's absolutely a part of who you are. The reverse is true, where you can't be putting all of your time building up your inside and neglecting your outside. You know what these people look like also. They're socially awkward. They read so much that they forget how to interact with real people. You can be really intelligent and know so much, but if you don't have an attractive cover, no one will care to hear your message. So the real key is you need to be a both person. Take care of your insides and your outsides, but make sure it's proportionate. Don't get lost in this world where people are so consumed by that 10% that they neglect the 90%. Think about this effect on relationships. At first, we're attracted to people because of their 10%, the visible part. But when we spend more time with them and we see that the invisible is not so hot, we have major problems on our hands. It's no wonder the divorce rate is so astronomically high. It takes time to get to know who a person truly is. It takes a lot of work to understand that 90% of that person. That time you spend discovering the 90% is so vital. So let's soldier up and not be so naive. Look good and be good. Some of us need makeovers on the outside, and some of us need some internal makeovers. Take care of both and do it proportionally. Have an awesome week. Peace. Bye.